Welcome to Throned Hope, where inspiration meets empowerment. Here, we believe in the incredible strength found within every individual. Whether you're seeking motivation to overcome life's challenges or stories that ignite a sense of purpose, you're in the right place. Together, we'll explore powerful insights, uplifting moments, and strategies to unlock your full potential. Join our community and embark on a journey to hope, resilience, and personal growth. Your throne awaits. Let's rise together.
Have you ever felt like your prayers are hitting a wall? Like you're speaking into the void, and all you get is silence? You've cried out, you've fasted, you've trusted, and yet, nothing has changed. The healing didn't come, the door didn't open, the pain didn't stop. You look around and see everyone else getting blessed. New jobs, happy families, answered prayers, and you start to wonder, did God forget me? Did he stop listening? Am I not enough? But listen to me. God did not forget you. His silence is not rejection. His delay is not denial. His stillness is not absence. Sometimes the teacher is silent during the test. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. You're not being abandoned. You're being anchored. The waiting isn't wasted. It's building something in you that comfort never could. Faith, patience, depth, strength. God is never in a hurry, but he's never late either. And I promise you, when his timing arrives, it will make perfect sense. The door he opens will be better than the one you begged for. The healing he brings will be deeper than the pain you endured. The purpose he reveals will be worth every tear you cried in the dark. So don't quit. Don't walk away from God now. Don't let the silence fool you. Because in the silence, God is closer than you think. He sees your tears. He hears your prayers. And he's working behind the scenes in ways you can't even imagine. He's weaving all the pain, all the delay, all the confusion into something beautiful. And one day, you'll look back and say, now I see. Now I understand. God never left me.
When exhaustion settles in, it doesn't always announce itself with a sudden crash. Sometimes it creeps in quietly, weaving itself into the fabric of your days. You might notice it in the way your mornings feel heavier, your motivation dulled, your thoughts moving slower. The world keeps spinning, demanding more. Another deadline, another errand, another promise to keep, while you wonder how you'll summon the energy to meet it all. Everyone reaches a point where the weight of responsibility feels almost unbearable. Maybe you've been pushing yourself for weeks, juggling work, family, and personal goals, trying to be everything for everyone. Maybe you're chasing a dream, pouring your heart and soul into something you believe in, only to find the path steeper than you imagined. Or perhaps life has thrown you curveballs, unexpected challenges that have drained your reserves and left you running on empty. In these moments, when you're too tired to keep going, it's easy to feel alone. You might look around and see others moving forward with apparent ease, their energy seemingly limitless, while you struggle just to take the next step. But the truth is, everyone faces these valleys. Everyone knows what it's like to feel stretched thin, to wonder if you have anything left to give. It's important to remember that feeling tired doesn't mean you're failing. It means you've been trying. It means you care enough to give your best, even when it's hard. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is acknowledge your limits and give yourself permission to rest. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of self-respect, a way to honor the effort you've already made. When your mind and body are begging for a break, listen. Step away, even if only for a few moments. Breathe deeply. Let your thoughts settle. Remind yourself that you are more than your productivity, more than your achievements or your to-do list. You are a person, deserving of care and compassion, just as you would offer to a friend in need. If you feel overwhelmed, try breaking things down. Focus on the next small step, rather than the entire journey ahead. Celebrate minor victories, a completed task, a quiet moment, a deep breath. Progress doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's the gentle persistence of showing up day after day, even when you're tired. Reach out for support if you need it. Share your struggles with someone you trust. You might be surprised by how many people understand, how many have been where you are. There is strength in vulnerability and no shame in asking for help. Remember, exhaustion is not a permanent state. It passes, just as storms do. With time, rest, and kindness to yourself, your energy will return. You will find your footing again. And when you do, you'll carry with you a deeper understanding of your own resilience, the quiet, unyielding strength that kept you moving forward even when you thought you couldn't. So, if you're too tired to keep going, take a pause. Give yourself grace. Trust that this moment is not the end, but a necessary part of your journey. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to begin again. And when you're ready, you'll rise. Not because you never grew weary, but because you honored your need to heal and found the courage to continue, one step at a time. In the journey of life, there are moments when the world seems to close in, when the weight of sorrow and uncertainty presses down with unbearable force. We all face times when hope feels distant, when pain overshadows joy, and when the future looks uncertain. It is in these darkest hours, when we feel most alone, that the quiet presence of the divine can be felt most profoundly. Even when everything seems to fall apart, God is there, steady, constant, and unwavering. During our worst moments, it's easy to question why suffering exists, or to wonder if anyone, let alone a higher power, is aware of our pain. The silence can feel deafening, and prayers may seem to go unanswered. Yet throughout history and in countless personal stories, there is a recurring truth. In the depths of our despair, God's presence becomes most real. Not always in miraculous interventions or dramatic rescues, but in the subtle, gentle ways that give us the strength to endure. Consider the times when you felt broken, when loss or failure seemed insurmountable. Perhaps it was the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, a betrayal, or a personal failure. In those moments, you may have felt abandoned, left to face the storm alone. But often, looking back, you can see the signs of grace, the unexpected comfort from a friend, the inner resilience you didn't know you had, or the small, quiet moments of peace amid chaos. These are not coincidences. They are reminders that God is near, walking beside you even when you can't see him. God's presence in our suffering does not always mean the pain will vanish. Sometimes the path through hardship is the very place where we encounter the divine most intimately. It's in the struggle that we learn to trust, to let go of what we cannot control, and to discover a deeper sense of purpose. The Psalms speak to this truth, with verses that cry out in anguish yet ultimately affirm that God is a refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. When life's storms rage and the night feels endless, remember that you are not alone. God is there, not just watching from a distance, but holding you close, even if you cannot feel it in the moment. The promise is not that we will be spared from hardship, but that we will never be abandoned in it. In Isaiah, we are reminded, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you." The assurance is not of a life without pain, but of a presence that sustains us through it. Sometimes, God's presence is revealed in the kindness of others, in the words of encouragement from a friend, or in the quiet moments of reflection when peace settles unexpectedly in your heart. Other times, it's the inner strength that carries you one more day, the hope that flickers even in the darkness. These are the fingerprints of the divine, gentle reminders that you are seen, known, and loved. So, in your worst moments, do not lose hope. Even if you cannot see the way forward, even if the pain feels overwhelming, trust that God is there. He is the anchor in the storm, the light in the darkness, and the love that never lets go. Your suffering is not unnoticed, and your tears are not in vain. With every trial, there is grace. With every sorrow, there is comfort. You are never truly alone, for God is always there, especially in your worst moments. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's the quiet courage to move forward, even when your heart is pounding and your mind is filled with uncertainty. We often imagine that faith means never feeling afraid, that those who are truly faithful walk through life with unwavering confidence, untouched by doubt or anxiety. But the reality is far more nuanced and far more human. Fear is a natural response to the unknown. It rises up when we stand at the edge of something new, something unpredictable. It whispers warnings and conjures up worst-case scenarios. It makes us question our abilities, our worthiness, and sometimes even our purpose. But faith doesn't demand that we silence these fears or pretend they don't exist. Instead, faith invites us to acknowledge our fears, to recognize them for what they are, and to choose, in spite of them, to take the next step. Throughout history, some of the most celebrated acts of faith have been carried out by people who were deeply afraid. Consider the story of those who have risked everything for a cause they believed in. A civil rights leader standing before a hostile crowd. A scientist challenging accepted wisdom. A parent making sacrifices for their child's future. In each case, fear was present. But so was faith. The belief that something greater was possible, that a better future could be built, even if the path was uncertain and the risks were real. Faith is not a shield that protects us from fear. It is the compass that guides us through it. It is the voice that says, yes, you are afraid, but you can still act. You can still hope. You can still believe. Faith doesn't promise that the journey will be easy or that the outcome will be certain. What it offers is the assurance that we are not defined by our fears, and that we are capable of more than we imagine. When we embrace faith in the midst of fear, we open ourselves to growth. We learn that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to persevere in spite of it. We discover resilience, the strength that comes from facing our fears head-on and refusing to let them dictate our choices. We find empathy as we recognize the fears in others and offer them the same grace we hope to receive. Faith also teaches us humility. It reminds us that we do not have all the answers, that we cannot control every outcome. It asks us to trust in ourselves, in others, in something larger than ourselves, even when certainty is out of reach. This trust is not blind or naive. It is a conscious decision to move forward, to keep going, even when the road ahead is shrouded in fog. So the next time you find yourself gripped by fear, remember that you are not alone. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has felt fear. What sets them apart is not the absence of fear, but the presence of faith. The willingness to take one more step, to try one more time, to believe that something good can come from the struggle. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of hope, of perseverance, of trust. It's the quiet strength that carries us forward when everything inside us wants to turn back. And in that space, where fear and faith meet, we find the courage to live fully, to love deeply, and to become the people we were meant to be. Sometimes in life, we find ourselves on our knees, hearts full of hope, voices trembling with longing, as we ask God for something we deeply desire. It might be a new opportunity, healing from an illness, the restoration of a broken relationship, or simply a sign that we're on the right path. We wait, sometimes with patience, sometimes with desperation, for an answer. And then, the answer comes, not as a resounding yes, not as a miraculous intervention, but as a quiet, unmistakable no. Hearing no from God is never easy. It can feel like a door slamming shut, a dream slipping through our fingers. We might wonder if we prayed the wrong way, or if we weren't faithful enough. We might question why a loving God would deny something that seems good, something that feels so right to us. In those moments, it's easy to feel alone, disappointed, or even abandoned. But what if God's no is not a rejection, but a redirection? Throughout history, countless people have faced closed doors and unanswered prayers, only to discover in time that there was a greater purpose at work. Sometimes, what we ask for is not what we truly need. Sometimes, what we think is best for us is not what will help us grow, heal, or flourish. God, in infinite wisdom, sees the bigger picture, one that stretches far beyond our present circumstances. Consider the story of Moses. He led the Israelites out of Egypt, through the wilderness, and right to the edge of the Promised Land. Yet after all his faithfulness and sacrifice, God told Moses he would not enter that land himself. It was a heartbreaking no, but it was not the end of Moses' story. His legacy continued through the people he led, and his faithfulness was honored for generations. Or think of the Apostle Paul, who pleaded with God to remove a thorn in his flesh. God's answer was not to take the pain away, but to say, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." In that no, Paul found a deeper strength and a more profound understanding of grace. When God says no, it can be an invitation to trust more deeply, to let go of our own plans, and to open our hearts to something new. It's a chance to remember that our worth is not measured by what we receive, but by how we respond to life's challenges. It's an opportunity to grow in patience, resilience, and faith. Sometimes, the no we hear today leads us to a yes we never could have imagined. The job we didn't get opens the door to a calling we never expected. The relationship that ended makes room for healing and new beginnings. The path we thought was lost leads us to a place of peace we didn't know existed. In the end, God's no is not the end of the story. It's a part of a journey that is still unfolding, a journey guided by love, wisdom, and grace. When we face disappointment, we can choose to trust that there is meaning in the waiting, purpose in the pain, and hope beyond the closed doors. So when you hear God say no, remember, it's not a sign that you are forgotten or unloved. It's a sign that you are being guided, protected, and prepared for something greater. Trust the process, hold on to faith, and know that sometimes the greatest blessings come not from the answers we want, but from the ones we never expected. Thank you for watching and being a part of the Throned Hope community. If you found value in our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support inspires us to keep bringing you stories and insights that uplift and empower. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay hopeful and keep reaching for your highest potential.